erase the faces of the chosen, the Bible spoke plainly. But we weren't taught to listen to what it really said. We were taught to filter it, to spiritualize skin, to call color a metaphor. But what if it never was? What if the prophets, kings, and saints weren't speaking in riddles, but revealing what empire would later conceal? Let's begin with Solomon, a man of immense wisdom, builder of the temple, son of David. In Song of Solomon 1:5 he declares, "I am black and beautiful, O daughters of Jerusalem." Some translations even soften it, "I am dark yet lovely." But in Hebrew, the phrase is, "Sheshora ani venava," I am black and beautiful. Not metaphor, not allegory, just reality. This verse wasn't spoken by a servant, not by a slave, but by a king in the direct bloodline of Jesus. Solomon, Israel's most glorious ruler, did not hide his skin tone. He proclaimed it. He didn't say, "Despite my darkness," he said, "Because of it." So how did we go from a black king building Yahweh's temple to blonde Jesuses and ivory prophets? The answer lies in selective vision, and it starts with a question: why was Moses mistaken for an Egyptian? In Exodus 2, Moses flees Egypt after killing a man. He arrives in Midian. The daughters of Jethro see him and say, "An Egyptian delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds." Exodus 2:19. Now pause. They didn't hear his accent. They saw his face. He looked Egyptian. But what did ancient Egyptians look like? We don't have to guess. Look at the walls of the tombs in Thebes, the temples at Karnak, the paintings of Nubian Egyptian royalty. These weren't fair-skinned men in linen robes. They were black-skinned, curly-haired, wide-nosed kings and priests. Their skin was painted in rich brown, red, or black tones. Their gods bore African features. In fact, the Egyptian priest Manetho, 3rd century BCE, in his histories refers to the Hebrews as a people who once came up from the south, kin to the Ethiopians. So if Moses looked like an Egyptian and Egyptians were black, then Moses was black, or at the very least indistinguishable from Africans. That's not controversial, that's just geography, history, and scripture agreeing, until someone chose to disagree. And what about Joseph? Genesis tells us that Joseph was sold into slavery in Egypt by his own brothers. He rose to power under Pharaoh dressed in Egyptian robes and was given an Egyptian name and wife. Years later, when his brothers came during the famine, they stood before him and did not recognize him. Think about that. These were his brothers, same father, same bloodline. But standing in front of them, Joseph looked so Egyptian, so foreign, that they couldn't imagine he was their kin. And yet when he finally reveals himself, they're terrified. Why? Because everything they thought they knew unraveled in that moment. Not just about Joseph, but about who they were standing in front of. Here's where the tension peaks. If Moses could pass as Egyptian, if Joseph could be mistaken for Egyptian, if Solomon was proud to be black, then what are we being shown? That the early Hebrews were